Shalom, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's ACKI'KA David. I'm your host of Absolute Knowledge of Torah. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. I do appreciate that. Today, I want to talk to you about Yaakov versus Yisrael. That's our topic today. I found some very interesting things about his name, and I wanted to share them with you today. You know, a lot of times we talk about Yaakov, and we don't really understand the in-depthness of his name. And we got a lot of brothers out here and a lot of brothers and sisters, and we talk about, oh, I'm Israel, I'm Yisrael, I'm Yaakov, I'm Jacob, so forth and so on. And you know, I'm very disappointed in the fact that, well, in a couple of things. Number one, how we've been completely lied to about who we are and being stripped away from our culture and our language and our traditions. And we have not been able to literally recover. And we won't recover until the Most High comes and rescues us. And that's just the truth, okay? And I'm just being honest and I'm being transparent, you know. Again, I'm not here to bash anybody or tell anybody what they don't know. All I want to do is just kind of discuss what we should know, okay? Number one, the name Yaakov is very significant, okay? Looking at his name, just the first letter alone has significance. I mean, it's huge. Number one, a yod means the hand in Hebrew, okay? And what do you do with a hand? Well, you do things with it, you work with it, you take hold of things, you use it to grab, subdue, fight. You also use it for praising, use it for eating. So there's function. So unlike the English language or any other language, the letters in Hebrew have function, they have significance, and they're tangible, they're very concrete, okay? Just like the ayin as part of his name means to see, okay? The eye, okay? So if you just look at the first two letters, it means, he, because that's what yod means, he will, that's in the grammar, he will see. Well, he will see what? And so we continue to look at the letters, and the kof, the kof means the horizon, and I don't know if that has any significance to when, the two occasions where he saw certain things. Number one, he saw a ladder come down from heaven, and, he saw, Malachs ascending and descending upon it, and he saw the Most High standing, in a vision at the top of it, and he named that place Bayet El, right? The house of Elohim, and he built an altar there, and he swore a vow to the Most High. And then he came back, and that's where he had his wrestling match, with a Malach, and he wrestled him, and, and he said, let me go, before, the sun comes up. So, that's within that letter right there. And then finally, the last letter is a bet, okay, which has to do with a tent, a dwelling, or a house. And so, putting those letters together, there's some significance there, right? But there's several definitions that I want to talk about what this name means. But let's begin with the first letter. The first letter, again in Hebrew, means he will. That's the grammar of the letter. So anytime you see this letter in front of a verb, it means he, third person masculine singular. An individual, third person masculine singular. He will. So when you look at Yaakov's name, what did he do, or what will he do? Well, one of the things that he did before he was even born is he had a war with his brother in his mother's womb. And they fought, and she went to the Most High and said, what's going on? He said, there's two nations inside of you, and they're warring right now. And he gives her, the down low on everything about what's going to take place and what their future is. And that's why she was very helpful in helping to convince the father that he was Esau, because she understood, she already had a conversation with the Most High about him receiving the blessing versus his older brother. And you can read that in Genesis. And I forgot what chapter, but if you got to do your research, you got to find out what it is. Well, what will he do? And it means in a future tense. It's not something that's complete. It's something that's going to be completed. Okay. And that's another thing we need to talk about. You know, a lot of times when we read the English translations, it gives you the idea that something's happened. But in a lot of instances in the Hebrew language, it hasn't happened yet. Okay. And that's a whole nother study. But I just want you to keep that in mind that the Yod means he will. So you'll see it in front of a lot of words in the Hebrew language. Okay. So he will what? He will restrain. And that's what he did. He restrained his brother's heel. Because that's the action of his name. The action of is he will restrain. And what did he restrain? Well, you need to restrain something. He restrained the heel. The restraining of the heel when taking a step forward. So what he was trying to do is prevent his brother from coming out before him. Because, you know, all the rights of the firstborn is to the one who comes out first. They're the one who get the double portion. So, ironically, he didn't lose that match. You know, I think he probably called it a tie because he's holding on to his brother. Literally, he attached himself so he can come out, not second, but he came out second, but he was holding on. And that's why they named him that, is because of his action, which is pretty significant because in the Hebrew language, the name of something or someone is its character, okay, or its function. And so when we talk about being Yaakov, we're talking about taking some type of action, okay? And as descendants of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, we have to take action, okay? And it means he will, all right? So Genesis 25:24 gives us the evidence that we need to justify why we say that his name means to restrain or to take hold of, and also the heel, because it's listed right there. So let's read it. So when her days were fulfilled, meaning their mother Rivkah, for her to give birth, indeed there were twins in her womb. The first came out red. He was like a hairy garment all over. So they called his name Asa, not Esau. His name is Asa. Okay. Afterwards, his brother came out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. So his name was called Yaakov. So as you can see right there, his name was called Yaakov because his hand took hold of his brother's heel. Okay. So that's why he was named that. It's because of his action. And also because he came on the heel of his brother. And due to that, another definition of his name or function of his name is the word because. It's not, you know, when you look at the Hebrew scriptures, it's not Yaakov means because, or they won't have Yaakov in the place for because. They'll have the word Akov or Akev. It will be missing the Yod. It means because. So it'll be an ayin, a kof, and a bet instead of being a Yod in front. So the root of his name is because. So when you put that together, he will because. Why? Because something. So we're trying to figure out, why did he take this? Why he will what? He will do something in the future because. And so the definition of because from a Hebraic perspective means it's in the sense of being on the heel of something else. Like, for example, in a sentence, we have, you make a statement and you say some things, and then you give an explanation because, you know, I went to the store today because, or I didn't do that. And they ask you, well, why not? Because, you know, so you're always like the after effect or the afterthought. But it's always on the heel. You know, so it's not only the heel of a foot, but it's on the heel of a conversation or the heel of a thought. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, when we talk about that, another word which I found to be significant is the word akev also has the meaning to be crooked. You know, are we talking about from a criminal perspective, or are we talking about being crooked? Like, you know, when we grew up, you said you crooked, or, you know, you're a crook. Crooked means from the angle of an ankle, okay? And that had to do with livestock. That had to do with, or actually a person as well. If the ankle was bent in any kind of way, it would be called a kev, okay? And that means that if the ankle is turned on any other direction, it would cause the person or the animal not to walk straight, which I find that to be telling So that's what's in the name of Yaakov. Is, we get the idea that people have said he's a supplanter, he's a deceiver, but they're not looking at the fundamental root of his name. It means to take hold of the heel. It means because, and it means crooked. Okay. So he will be crooked. Okay. His foot will not walk the path. That's the reason why the Most High changed his name. Yaakov is a man that was dealing with a lot, and we can't forget that. And as his children and descendants of him as our father, we need to understand that you and I hold some of these same characteristics, if not all of them. Number one, I believe that we're strong. Our father was a strong man, and we're strong too. As a people, we've been through a lot, and we've been holding on for a long time. We've been holding on, and we wanted to hold on because we don't have any other choice, in a matter. And again, because if we let go, then we know that it's over, So because doesn't always mean a bad thing. It means it's the afterthought. It means that we're a continuation of something. We're a continuation of a thought. We're the continuation of an idea, And so the Most High has purpose for our lives because he has work for us to do. He will. Remember, the Yod in his name means he will. So we need to, right? It says he will. So that's what we're doing. We're living out our Father's name as Yaakov right now. I mean, there's plenty of occasions in the Tanakh where the Most High speaks to Yaakov and Yisrael at the same time in the same sentence. And I was like, why is he addressing Yaakov, but he changed his name to Yisrael? What is this about? Well, I'm starting to see why. And it's because Yah is addressing the man, the inner man, and the outer man, okay? The inner man is not Yaakov. That's the outer man. The inner man is Yisrael. That's the one that Yah is bringing forth. That's the one that Yah is concerned truly with, is Yisrael, okay? And what do I mean by that? I'm saying he's not concerned about Yaakov. That's not true. He's met all of his needs. Our father died along with the rest of our ancestors, but he wanted to create something new in him, and therefore he changed his name, just like he changed the name of our father Abraham, and he changed the name of our mother Sarai. He changed her name from Sarai to Sarah. Okay, and so their names were changed, and that's significant. So when the Most High wants to do something in your life, he has to change who you are, and he has to change your definition, for lack of better terms. He wants to redefine you, and he wants to add substance to you, okay? So let's talk about Yisrael. The first letter in Yisrael's name is the same letter. It's a Yod, and it means he will, okay? The next two letters are a Shin and a Resh, which I want to talk over, or excuse me, I want to go over with you. And then the next one is an Aleph and a Lamed, which we're going to break that down as well to let us know what is the true meaning of this name. Okay, so we know the Yod is he will. Well, let's talk about, or excuse me, I will. Excuse me, I will. He will, excuse me. So the Sar, which is the Shin and the Resh, that means to rule, reign, or prevail. So if you look at the name Yisrael, the Yod and the Shin and the Resh so far means he will rule, he will reign, he will prevail, right? And how do we know this is true? Again, because his actions is what's causing him to have his name changed, his behavior, his conduct. See, your name has to match your conduct. Your name has to match who you are. Your name has to match your character, because your name in Hebrew is your character. I'm laughing because we don't know that. Your name is who you are. You know, I have a great friend. His name is Derek. And I think I told him that his name meant the path. It means to tread. And if you're listening, Derek, I want to let you know that I love you so much. And your name means to tread. You know, everyone's name has a significance as your character. And he's always treading, man. He's always doing stuff. He's always hitting a path. He's always going after things. He's continually on a path and treading it over and over and over again. And so I use his name because it's significant. You know, my son Malachi, his name means my messenger. You know, it means to deliver a message, to walk on for someone else. And so he's trying to learn how to walk within the character of his name, meaning to my messenger, to be the Most High's messenger, and to deliver a message, to walk on behalf of someone else. You know, my daughter Michaela means one who is like Yah. You know, who is like Yah. You know, Mikamoka. You know, her name is Michaela. So who is like Yah? So names have significance, and we can't forget that. These are just not names, okay? But in Genesis 32:24, it says this, and Yaakov was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. Now, when he saw that he did not prevail, who? The man, against him, against Yaakov, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Yaakov's hip was out of place, okay? It went out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go. For the day breaks, right? So just looking at these two verses right here, Yaakov was a man who had ability to hold on. And it just didn't start. You know what I'm saying? It was who he is. It's his character. It's he's always been a wrestler. He's been wrestling while he was even in the womb with his brother, but now he's wrestling now. So you can see the preparation and how Yah has prepared him for this day. You know, and I can speak to this today, that Yah has prepared us for this day. You know, we have to do what he did. If we want to prevail, you and I cannot let go. That's the truth. We can't let go. We're going to have to hold on, and we're going to have to wrestle, and we're going to have to fight, and we're going to have to struggle. Let's continue. And he says, but he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. This man was determined. Our father was determined, you know, and he felt the same way. I'm not letting you go, Esau, until I come up out of here. You and I should be willing to hold on and not let go. And we need to go to Yah and ask him to bless us. And we need to hold on to him until he says, let me go. And we say, no, I'm not letting you go. I want something from you. How? You better hear what I just told you. We got to hold on to the Yah. If you understand who it is that you're holding on to, you would hold on. He said to him, what is your name? And he said, Yaakov. He told him, I'm the restrainer. I'm the one who holds on the heels. I've been doing this since I was a baby. I've been doing this when I was in the womb. I'm used to this. I've been holding on for 20 years and I'm still holding on. I just got ripped off for 20 years of my time building a family and being with a whole bunch of other women that I really didn't want. I just wanted one. And I ended up with 13 kids. With 4 different women, with thousands of sheep and 250 donkeys and maid service and men service. He took on responsibility. He built his life. But he said that wasn't enough. He still wanted to be blessed by the Most High. You got to hold on. And he says, why? He said, your name shall no longer be called Yaakov, the restrainer, but Yisrael. For you have struggled with Elohim and with men and have prevailed. So now you see again, he's being called. TORAH. He's being called. You're only called by a name in which you function in. I want you to hear. I need you to hear what I just said. The only way you're ever going to be called Yisrael is if you hold on to Yah. That's the only way you're going to be blessed. That's the only way you're going to have your name changed. Right now, you and I are Yaakov. We're holding on, but we better hold on all the way. We're holding on because we need to hold on. We're holding on because our foot has been crooked and we've been walking off the path. We need to hold on to Yah. He struggled with Elohim. He says, but your name shall be called this because you struggled with Elohim. Some people say that was Yah. He was struggling. When he wasn't, Yah did not leave the throne, people. Yah's not a man. He didn't struggle with him. Yah's not a man. So don't get this scripture twisted. Okay? This man was operating on behalf of the Most High. He's not Yah. Okay? He says, because you struggle with Elohim and with men. And you prevailed. He's prevailing. Why? Because he's holding on. He's holding on. So, I told you that the word Sar means to rule, to reign, and prevail. Now I'm going to break it down for you. The name Sar has a title of being a prince. Okay? And where did this come from? It came from Yaakov's grandmother, Sarah. Remember Sarah? Her name has the name Sar in it. It's a shin, a resh, and a hey. Okay, a Sar is just a shin and a resh. Her name is a shin, a resh, and a hey. Sarah means princess. But let's verify. Let's verify. And you can verify this in the Torah. Genesis chapter number 17, verse 15. It says, Then Elohim said to Abraham, As for Sarai, your wife, you shall not call her name. See this again? Call her name, Sarai. But her name shall be Sarah. Okay? And I will bless her and also give her a son, give you a son by her. Then I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be from her. Do you hear that? That's what it is. I'm going to bless her. He didn't bless her once. He blessed her twice. The blessing was you're going to have a son by her. And the second blessing is that she shall be a mother of nations. So it wasn't just giving the birth of Yitzchak. It was the birth of her saying that she shall be the mother of nations, and kings of people shall come from her. So what is this telling you so far? It's telling you and I, or should be telling us, that you and I are part of a royal family. We're part of a royal family. And because we're from a royal family, you and I are going to have royal conduct. We have to live like nobles and princes and princesses. And we have to teach our children and live a life of nobility and be very regal in our behavior and use knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. At one point, we were a people of great significance and great power and authority. We were very majestic, but we lost it all because we failed to follow the principles of the Most High. We didn't get sent in exile for any other reason but because we violated the Torah. We abandoned our Elohim, and that's why we're here where we are today. We lost the kingdom. Shlomo lost the kingdom. The whole Israel was split because of his actions. A lot of people don't know that. He was an idol worshiper. He built high places for all types of idols, Ashereth poles. He did it all. The Most High said, if you ever do these things, I'm tearing down this house that you built and put my name on it. Because he's not playing. He's not letting us violate his name and profane his name, which we're doing right now while we're in the nations. But the fact of the matter is, Yah has made a promise to us to restore our fortunes back to us. And a lot of times we don't really understand what that means because we've been so broke our whole life that we don't know what it means. You know, a lot of us think we go get a new house with some new appliances and, a new car. It ain't gonna be that. It's gonna be a life of royalty. It's gonna be a life of order and standards and practices and measurement and balance. It's gonna be that type of life. But let's continue. The last part of this man's name, Yisrael, is El. El. That's the Aleph and the Lamed. And what does El mean? It's a name that's given to the Most High. It's a title. It's a title. Yah's name is Yahweh. Okay, or Yahuwah, or Yahweh. Okay, it's the Tetragrammaton, Yohe-Wahe. This is a title, okay, of the Supreme Being. Okay, his name is El, means power. That's what it means. Well, what kind of power? The power of all powers. The power to bring light. The power to tell the moon and the stars to shine, to go in their cycles. The power to tell the sea not to go past a certain part on the seashore. The power to have storms. The power to bring rain down. The power to move clouds. The power to shake the earth. The power to bring forth life, the power to raise the dead, the power to heal the sick, the power to provide for those of his inhabitants and his creatures. The power. Hallelujah. That's what he says, that his name is the power. Hallelujah. And that's added to the name of Yisrael. Okay? So what does Yisrael literally mean? You ready? It means because Elohim rules him, he will reign and prevail over men. That's what it means. It means that because Elohim rules him, he will reign and prevail over men. Never heard that definition, have you? Never heard it. Now, where did I get that from? Well, let's read the name backwards. El Sar Yis. Okay, or Is, Yisrael. El means power. Sar means prince or rule. And then the Yod is he will. Okay? But in Hebrew, you read from right to left. Right? So when we read his name, it means he will rule with Yah. Okay? He will prevail because it says he's ruled. Remember, that's his name. You have prevailed. You have prevailed with Elohim and with men. Okay? So, is he overpowering the Most High? Is he powered? No. Yah is telling him that I got to rule you first. Because if Elohim rules you, then he'll allow you to rule and reign over men. And that's what you and I have to do. If you want to rule and if you want to prevail, and if you really want to be Israel, then you're going to have to do what Yah says. Do you really believe that the Most High is going to allow you and I to rule in a kingdom and we don't follow his Torah? Do you really think he's going to let you and I rule over men and we say that there's another Elohim? Do you really believe that he's going to give us a kingdom and authority and make us the chief of all nations? Because that's what he says. They're a chief of all nations. Do you really believe that he's going to allow us to do that? I mean, if you call on upon of a name that has never been mentioned, that he's never mentioned. I mean, that's why I keep telling everybody, I want you to show me where he's called on the name of Yeshua. Show it to me where he called on the name of Yahushua. If you look in all the Torah, you look at all the prophets, the only name that our ancestors, our father Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov ever called on is Yahweh's name. The only name that Shaul or David or Shalomo or Yashiyahu, Yeremiyahu, Yoel, Zechariah, all the kings of Israel, they only called on the name of Yahweh. They only called on his name for thousands of years. And then all of a sudden, your friends, the Greek yogurt, they come along and tell you to call on another name. In addition to stop calling on Yah's name and call on that name. But none of our answers. Moses called on the name of Yah. Aharon called on the name of Yah. They called on the name of Yahweh. And now you and I believe that you and I are going to be Israel if we don't do what he says and we call on another name. You know what's interesting? He named us and now we're trying to name him. We're trying to name him. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You and I cannot name him. You and I cannot rename him. He named us. So what's the teaching today? If you want to prevail with Yahweh, if you want to be Yisrael, if you want to rule over men, if you want to reign and prevail, you got to take hold of Yahweh. You got to hold on to him. You got to keep his laws, his statutes, and commandments. And one of the things that you don't want to do is you don't want to step out of line and name him a name that he ain't never been called, period. So I hope you know what you're doing. I really hope you understand the significance of what it means to violate his name. And with that being said, I say shalom to you. Hallelujah.